president of the cooperative Kleros, and let's get started with the, with the community call. Okay, so, well, as you know, guys, last week I gave more comprehensive talk about different aspects of work we are doing at Kleros in 4 main areas: research, product development, integrations, core protocol development, marketing and communication. So I kind of, if you haven't seen that, feel free to, the video is available for anyone to see. It's on YouTube. I think you can share this, Jean, maybe, so for people who haven't seen it. And so there's not, as you can imagine, there's not that much to add from what I said last week. It was super comprehensive. This week, still working on protocol development. V2, as you know, is the main thing that we are trying to do now. That this involves different aspects, including the VIA bridge. We are planning to, in the coming weeks, do a new demo of where we are now with the V2. The front end is now working, still things to fix, but hey, oh, William, you're here. Awesome. People are missing you already.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad you've been able to make it.
Good. So well, the usual. So I haven't confirmed the date for the demo because I'm still waiting for their team to well, tell me when they will feel comfortable to show it publicly, but it's moving forward quite fast. Then we have, from the point of view of Linguo, a lot of translations already there for you to take, and lots have been taken. I think that all of the translations from English to Spanish were taken, so there's already some people making money with Linguo, and this is super exciting for me. And yeah, so if you want to make money doing translations or reviewing other people's translations, you can go to Linguo. And now we are kind of scaling up a bit on communications for having more translators and more reviewers and etc. Then about Susi, what I will let Shotaro, maybe the famous Shotaro, who, if you haven't read about him, you can read the article we published on Monday about how he likes clubbing into Berlin, you know. So well, I will let you to explain it.
Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, so I'm based in Berlin, and the blog just describes a bit about my background. But yeah, so I'm working on Suzy, this Telegram content moderation bot, and have been integrating feedback in the past few weeks and months. We are experimenting with it in the unofficial trading group. It's a community ran group. And gathering feedback so that it's easy to integrate Suzy into a new Telegram group. So it can also, so Suzy uses reality.eth to ask a question: did this user break rules? And users can answer by placing a bond, 5 die. Yes, this user broke the rules. And this can escalate, where every time someone changes the answer, they double the bond, and if there's a dispute, Kleros will resolve it. And so now it's getting to the stage where the documentation is good, the bot is more user-friendly, and finally, you know, some months ago, a beer wrote a policy regarding content moderation cases and how jurors should deal with them. So there's there's both like substantive and procedural aspects. Like, you know, on the one hand, you need to understand which evidence is authentic. How should I access the context of a Telegram message? How do I identify the parties involved? You know, maybe they changed their username. Maybe they edited their messages after they were reported. So, you know, there's tampering with evidence, but there's also trying to understand which sort of behavior is enforceable. So, or which behavior is reportable. You know, if I know that like if we are on Telegram, and I know on the governance forum that someone is breaking the rules there, can I report that user for behavior that's not happening on this platform? And well, in any case, iterating on these set of rules, and I'll share the state of that document in this trading group, and maybe we should link to that trading group in the main chat. So long story short, I'd love some feedback on that policy, that set of rules, that in integrating the feedback from a beer and guidance for jurors how to interpret reality questions, and yeah, like there's a lot of pending updates in the past few months that make SUSE more user friendly, less intrusive into the conversation of a Telegram group, that more bells and whistles and features, so that there are notification channels where SUSE can send updates rather than cluttering the main group. Yeah, that's most of it. I think there will be more to share, more to share next week, and more substantive features that you can actually see and play with, and we'll put those updated version of SUSE into the trading group. Yeah, that's about it on the moderation side.
Awesome. Well, thank you. So about policies, if you want to make a career in the field of decentralized justice, writing policies is one of the main career paths I would advise. This is quite hard. It's quite hard to predict. Any given policy, what will be the behavior of the users that will result from it. And so we were always very much focused, on how to do the smart contracts right, how to prevent economic attacks and everything you know already. But policies is something that kind of went under the radar in some way, and it's something we are learning a lot now. But of course, we're learning a lot now because now we have more users. Before it was harder to test something without people actually using it. But yeah, so if you want to contribute to Kleros, a great way to do it is like to help us drafting the policies and improving them, because it's not just drafting them, it's also improving them, iterating on them and all that. And please, by all means, do some Shotaro memes. So it's not just about me, Clement, and William. He also deserves some memes, please. Okay, well, let's get to speaking of William. Did you pack already? Everything's ready for the West Coast?
I have to pack still, but it's a short trip, so it shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, so I'm moving tomorrow for this conference in Berkeley, Plurality, which sort of has a lot of these people, this sort of circle around Glenn Weil, that are interested in kind of more pluralistic systems that involve blockchains. Quadratic voting, soul-bound tokens, kind of social layers. So I'm excited about that conference. I'm going to give a small 5-minute talk where we talk about some of the research we've been doing on SPTs and how they could potentially be used in juror selection. And there are a lot of interesting research questions around like that. I'm kind of inspired by some of Glenn Weil's work on using SPTs and weighting of quadratic funding contributions, which themselves have still opening research questions. So there's lots of interesting work to be done.
Awesome. And since you're there, you should go to Stanford too, William.
Yeah. So it looks like I'm going to have lunch with some of the people from the Stanford Law Arbitration Association. I think they decided that we offered to give a talk, but it was short notice in the beginning of the semester. So they're like, oh, it's better if you just come and have lunch with interested people and answer our questions. But I'm happy to do that too. So maybe some future visit to Stanford, I'll give a proper talk there.
Awesome. Well, have a good trip and good luck in your talks.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't know if Abir wants to comment something about the policies, since he has been working on that.
Nothing outside of the ordinary. Policies are hard, actually, and you will find quite a few lessons to be learned from how governance mechanisms work in real life as well. About um, basically predicting how, as the Federico said, predicting how people will work. So it would probably be a good idea to start studying how basically how legislatures around the world debate and discuss their policies, because you really end up realizing, you know, what kind of stakeholders are affected, and how to sort of mitigate negative impacts or unintended consequences, stuff like that. And honestly, it's like also a good idea to start studying basically any famous sort of constitutional crises that have happened, because those largely come out of poorly designed policies. And you can say that the Kleros court policies are actually quite sort of similar to the way constitutions operate, because they give you certain guidelines on how they expect you to execute certain decisions, but those guidelines, they can't really factor in the edge cases, or the kind of unique circumstances that may emerge as time progresses. So that's ultimately what I'll start doing myself. We've got a pretty good professor here in HKU who teaches comparative constitutional law. I think next semester I'll be auditing his courses to get any more ideas about how exactly to best design policies, because ultimately, yeah, you can say the cliche term that at points it becomes more of an art than a science. You just need to have more of a holistic understanding of how the entire machinery of disputes and human interactions work. But this is just again something that you need to iterate on, maybe discuss with many people. You need as diverse viewpoints as possible. So maybe it would be a good idea to start, soliciting sort of feedback and questionnaires from users when proposing a new court about, the kind of disputes they envision, the sort of friction points that they have within specific transactions or specific activities that they might need to, that they might want resolved. I mean, we've been talking quite a while about esports and gaming, maybe have some courts for that. So it would probably be a good idea to sort of reach out to people and ask them, what are the specific problems they have when, they're in that digital environment, when they're playing games, when they're participating in esports tournaments, and then sort of start developing court policies from that. And furthermore, I mean, here in Hong Kong, everything is going great. I've actually got a few meetings lined up right now with various stakeholders in the Web3 community. I'm sort of active here on many fronts, but every meeting I have, I do sort of, shill Kleros as well. So I can't really give any details yet, but tomorrow I have lunch with a person who's pretty important in the Hong Kong adoption sort of the Hong Kong crypto adoption framework. So let's see how that goes. Maybe there's going to be some sort of good leads there. On Friday, there's some other crypto event happening here on off chain called Off Chain Hong Kong. They're going to be bitching about FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried there. So maybe there might be some interesting people to meet there.
Awesome. Regarding constitutions and policies, there's going to be a conference I'm going to attend in Paris. It's in May. I think it's 11 to 15 May. It's organized by Blockchain Gov, which is a group by Primavera Filippi. And it's exclusively about constitutional law and DAOs, and how to build DAO constitution for DAOs and what are the processes. So I'm super excited about that. So let's see. I feel sometimes like we are like the constitution, founding fathers of the internet, and we need to figure out how to make things work. Excited about that. And let me see what else I can share with you. Gone through Okay, the incubator started. We have 3 teams. One is called LensTag, is doing some research about how to integrate Kleros into, the Lens protocol. Another one is called the Badge. It's about curation. So this is the year of TCRs, as they say. So the Badge is a team that is building curated lists for certification of a number of different things based on the approach that we have at Kleros for curation. And the last one is the talent layer, that is infrastructure for labor markets, freelancer platforms and all that. So that's the incubator, and we are now finishing the planning of the workshops for, of the incubation we do. We give them, the first time I think it was 8 workshops now. Second one was maybe 10 or 12, and now we have like 18, workshops covering all aspects, from strategy, how to build network effects, game theory, mechanism design, smart contract auditing, legal elements, lots of things, fundraising. So yeah, organizing this from different members of the team. So we reviewed products. The protocol. I don't think I have much more for today. But Jean, if you have something to comment today.
I would like to. I'll start sharing that there's so much going on right now that I'll share. Start compiling the latest news and have like a quick like a post where you can quickly see what's happening. And we started working on a guide for onboarding users to Kleros. As you must know already, there's people can join Kleros and start helping us start doing research as in the fellowship, or join the incubator, read the material on building a DApp or integrating Kleros into a project, or just participating in the challenge ecosystem, translating. So it's hard for people that just learned about Kleros to know where they fit or which path to take. So we will be working on that to facilitate and also retaining more people, making them have like a better experience when participating in the community.
It can be overwhelming, coming to Kleros and seeing so many options. So yeah, the onboarding could be way more efficient and clear for everyone. And I was forgetting to mention the Ledger registry. So if you want to start working there, you can start submitting tags for this registry, and this is part of our efforts into making the internet a more secure place where people can know that if this contract says it's from some project, so it's actually from that project, not an impersonation or some other kind of scam. So we are welcoming more submissions. So if you want, you can. I don't know. Maybe Jim, you can post a link where people can start working there. There is also
Yes, we had today some items being submitted by the community. So there's also an opportunity to check the submissions and see if there's any mistake, and then you can challenge them. And this is in parallel with the address tags registry that we have that has incentives for submissions. But so I believe it's good that someone with the same set of skills if you know how to check a smart contract on Etherscan and see where it belongs, what it belongs to, then you can check both lists and make submissions of your favorite projects or projects that you want to be listed. It's also something to like the Kleros tokens list is something that new projects can use to like to mark their contracts or as official, just as in a way, you know, just like registering something on the, I don't know, a patent or something, but you just give more safety for your users that the address that they are interacting with are actually what they should be interacting with. So it's another step in that direction.
Yeah, so you can participate there and and help us make the internet a better place, you know, a more secure place for everyone. And
A quick question about these tags. Are they already integrated with Etherscan? Because Etherscan sometimes tags the addresses, and I'm not sure if this is coming from Kleros or some other source.
It's so that was the first test we did and the first integration. Yes, you can see some addresses on Etherscan say something like not validated, but secured by Kleros or something like that, and yeah, that comes from the list.
That's excellent. I also have a comment about the court policies. You said that this is a job of the future. Well, to a certain extent, yes, because there are not many specialists, not many experts who have experience doing it. And from my point of view, sometimes when I'm on this Kleros juror chat, some people get really frustrated when their submission is rejected. And I understand their frustration because someone put the effort and put money, and then they are really, really disappointed. And I suggested that we should maybe be more, I would say, have more tolerance towards users who did 99% good, but then they made some small mistake, like they, you know, for example, they have some makeup, or they put a phone in front of their face, and it's part of their face is not visible. Because I would say these are honest mistakes, and I don't see any malicious intent with these submissions. And my personal view is that we should be more tolerant towards genuine users who put the effort in, because if they get rejected, it is just bad vibes for, it's just negative energy for them.
Totally aware. We totally know that, and that's a problem. I mean, the user experience also needs to be good, and if you are rejected because of some like a trivial, but people would argue that those were the rules. I mean, the user doesn't get a good experience, and that's not great. So it's kind of, there is a trade-off between having a secure registry and not having those suboptimal user experiences in some way, in some cases. But we are totally aware of this, and this is something we are actively researching. I'm sure William maybe will have some comments on this as well.
Yeah, I also agree that it's better to be more tolerant, and like that's something that ideally Kleros can be in the future. Like currently our voting systems have been more or less limited to binary cases. And as V2 comes out and we have the flexibility to have modules with different voting systems that are more like interact better with non-binary cases, like it will make more sense to give a sort of decision to a jury where they can choose between, okay, this was like really severe, we like maximum slashing, this was an attack, or like this was like a good effort mistake and they should have like a smaller penalty, or no, this was fine, without causing vote splitting and sort of game theory problems. There's still, even with like better voting systems, there are like complicated and thorny questions around challenger incentivization. But the better voting systems would go, a substantial part of the way to fixing this problem.
Yeah, and also I think some of these come from better communicating why some decisions are made. Like I see there is now like a debate about mirroring images and if a mirrored video should be accepted or not. And so, yeah, some people say, yeah, I mean, even if the video is mirrored, then this doesn't prevent someone from seeing if the user is a human or not. That's one argument. But other people say, this could impair the ability of automated, face recognition software to recognize duplicates. So one of the goals of proof of humanity, of course, is that people who make the submission are humans, but the other one is that they're not duplicates. So you accept mirrored images, and then that's fine. Less people get frustrated, but then other people, then the registry could potentially become less useful for customers who want to use it, because potentially could have a less reliable detection of duplicates. So there are lots of different things to take into account when suggesting improvements in policies. And another one I remember was the let's accept one wrong letter or character in the address, I think, or for people who write the address. And so you can accept one character that is wrong, but then this has some cost in reliability and security of the registry. And so all of these things are to be considered, and the community who participates in making the policy should be aware of all of these trade-offs when they when they make these discussions as well. Well,
by the way,
that's
technical question. Is it possible to make some changes to the court policy, or is it set in stone on the blockchain, no ability to update?
The court, which court? The different courts have different. You mean the general court?
Yeah, say for the proof of humanity, say we reach a consensus that we decided that mirroring video is okay. And then we want to update the policy. Is there a technical ability to do it?
No, we have done this. The policy has changed since the beginning. It's an iterative process, so it can be changed. It was changed, and it can change again. No, it's not a problem.
Okay, great. I didn't know to what extent it is upgradable. Thank you for letting me know.
Yeah. Okay.
Federico.
Well, yeah. Marcos.
Yeah, let me add, just tell the community that with a BD team, with a Kleros BD team, we have been contacting almost all prediction markets of the Web3. So, probably in the next weeks, we are going to publish a presentation showing which were the results, and most probably we're going to get some integration from there.
Yeah, this was for us. Literally, it was prediction market week. Let's say so. We studied all of the prediction market and see how Kleros can be used in different situations, and that mostly internal research of use cases. So that was
and for the Spanish community, we are going to publish a guide telling how prediction markets can integrate us and how they can bet in different prediction markets as in Prode.
Yeah, and there's going to be a football game between Kleros and Prode, I think.
Yeah, right? There's going to be a football game between Kleros and another DAO from Argentina. We are going to play in my house, so it's going to be an interesting match.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, okay, guys. Speaking of playing, I need to get ready for my Age of Empires weekly game. So thank you very much for coming, and see you next week.
Ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Ciao.
Hi, everyone.